So the comparisons for the different types of skills you can have as a coach. So starting with the communication, this can be very different with different types of people that you are coaching. So communication can change depending on the age or coaching. So if you have young participants, you might want to use communication in forms of a whistle. So if you're in a large area, high volume, you might blow a whistle and they will know what to do when the whistle is blown. As well as this, you could use clapping. So especially with little children, if you clap 3 times, they clap back or something, and this would all be arranged beforehand. As well as this, with like elite athletes, a whistle could also be used. So in an environment such as a swimming pool, in a slightly more high-risk situation, if you needed play to stop immediately, you could blow the whistle and they would know that this is the time that you literally just need to stop, get out of the pool, or whatever the situation may be. A different way of communicating could be just talking to them if you're in quite a quiet area with a small group. So this might be more beneficial with kind of the older players in sport. If they're just doing a fitness class with a few people in it, that may be more beneficial. It also, if there's a loud noise, you can use gestures. However, these gestures could also be used if you've got really young children who don't quite understand what you're trying to convey. So if you're using technical language that they do not understand, gestures could be really helpful. So depending on the gender of the player, there could be some different skills needed. So the organisation may have to be different. So the organisation of how you need to manage the time. So they're going to get bored on events if they find it too easy, or if they're it's not something they enjoy. As well as this, the time management. So the sessions might need to be longer if they're more competitive with it, or they might need to have lots of different drills. So have differentiation, having the main drill, how to make it easier or harder. So going back to the age, age can affect how you have to organise a session. So you may have to have shorter sessions if you've got younger children because they may get bored easy, or you might have to have shorter sessions with older athletes because they need a variation, or they need to have a short, quick part of exercise and then change to something new. As well, with younger children, you need to arrange for them to have enough time to get changed afterwards, especially in schools. Part of the PE lesson has to take into consideration time to get changed. And also, especially if you're travelling, so the elite athletes, if you're travelling from one venue to another, you need to have enough organisation to make sure you've got the pitch, the facilities, the minibus and all of that accounted for. So dependent on the nature of the sport, you need different type of organisation and different communication. So like with the rugby, you'd need a method of communicating so they know that when they're in a high-risk situation, they know exactly when you mean they need to stop. So that might be in forms of such the whistle. One long blow whistle could mean that they have to stop immediately, opposing to just finishing the game. With gymnastics, also a high-risk activity, needs to have some sort of communication. Now this may be more gestures, so when they're taking part in an activity you may gesture on how they need to do this, but this communication comes between the coach and the individual. And especially with kind of rugby and also I suppose tennis, there's different seasons of the sport. So this is where kind of the time management, the phases come in. So you have to have the pre, the post and the peak season. These obviously will change the organisation of the session, so how you plan the session will be different dependent on the time of year and the upcoming events. Having time with the individuals will allow you to give feedback and to help. So this would work better in the team sports, so where they're working together. However, you still need to give specific feedback to each rather than generalised feedback. Dependent on the ability, the level of communication may be different. So this is a skill which is really important to communicate with everyone. However, the communication might be done in a different format. So there might be verbal feedback that you're giving to an elite player, giving them information on how they can improve. If they then understand this, they can then go and carry it out. However, if you're giving facial expressions to a club player, they might not understand exactly what you're meaning by these. So you may think, oh, that doesn't look right, but an elite player who's been coached by you for a long time may understand your kind of reaction. So this is where the communication depends completely on the coach and the respondent. So a lot of kind of club level may be good to just verbally explain what's going on, compared to maybe a county level player where feedback is given and maybe noted to use for next session. So the organisation of these different activities would change with the ability. So for the minibus, getting a minibus ready, the higher the ability, this all needs to be arranged and done for. The equipment would all need to be arranged. So if for a club, this equipment would probably be set up or in a clubhouse for you to use. However, at elite level, this is probably going to a main event where the equipment is all there ready for you. This eliminates the time you need to leave to clear up, which helps to allow you to have enough time management to sort out your session. The experiences that the coach has, the organisation may be different. So the way that they plan a session, allowing enough time for a transition between activities may be greater or lower depending on how much time they know they need, which will obviously grow the experience. Their time management will also change. So changing timings of a session quickly because you didn't anticipate that someone would do the session so quickly. This can be shown with high ability levels, with long experience, because you know that if a session's not going well, you can change the timings. As well as if people are misbehaving, you can, with your experience, you can change the timings or organise them to be in a different group.